I've always said that releasing on the body is a tremendous way to prove that the method works, to see tangible results through releasing, because the body just responds immediately to these techniques in releasing. And you can see very fast, tangible gains. And while I've had tremendous success with releasing on body problems, such as healing a broken shoulder when I had a skiing accident, or healing tooth problems, or dropping over 50 pounds in a very short period of time just by releasing only. There have also been times when I struggled, and I struggled to see results for my releasing efforts when I had a certain body problem going on. And I want to share with you what I found was stopping me from seeing those results when I struggled, and how I've got myself back to seeing those tremendous gains and proving that releasing works, especially applied to body issues. So check this out. Welcome to the Power of Quiet, the simple way to self-realization. So if you want total control of your mind and more happiness and abundance in your life, then you've come to the right place. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. You're going to love what we show you, because what we do here is 100% experiential. And if you're a regular here, you love the work that we do, and you see it makes a big difference in your life, then let us know. Hit the like button below and share this video with your friends and your loved ones. Because as you know, what we have here is what everybody on the planet is looking for. Peace of mind, happiness, and abundance. Not just an abundance of money and wealth, but an abundance of health and fitness, energy, and all the good stuff that you're looking for in life. And that's what the tools that we show you here show you how to do for yourself in a very easy and effortless way. Now, today I want to share with you a story about how I had, about 2.5 years ago, a body problem show up, an injury that I tried to resolve by releasing. And at that time, I just struggled with it for months and months and months and just didn't see any results happening. And about 6 months ago, I had pretty much the same exact issue show up, but worse this time. And yet this time, I resolved it very quickly by releasing only. So I'm going to share with you what the difference was between why I struggled the first time and why I found success this last time. And so this might illuminate for you, if you've been struggling with releasing on the body problem, how to get yourself in alignment so you could see the results and get all the goodness from releasing yourself. So anyway, this story, it starts about 3 years ago when I first started going to the gym and started working out, started basically to become a bodybuilder. And at that time, when I first showed up at the gym, I didn't have any particular goal in mind. But as I started to use the equipment, and I had a trainer there kind of show me a basic bodybuilding routine, and I started doing it, I quickly realized, hey, I've got this wonderful resource at my hands, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to get big. I'm going to be like Arnold, you know? So I started going to the gym more, making it a regular habit to show up and do my workouts. And very quickly, I'm just talking like in a matter of weeks, I absolutely fell in love with bodybuilding, because to me, it was a very meditative practice and involved a lot of body awareness and body congruency. And so I just kind of really brought me into oneness with my body and also oneness with myself through this practice. And plus, I just enjoyed the physical exertion and also seeing the results I was getting. So essentially, I just fell madly in love, so much that I found myself going to the gym at least 6 times a week, showing up every single day and working out. And my progression was fast. It seemed like every couple of weeks I was doubling the weights that I was lifting previously. And I was just progressing up very, very fast. But what happened about maybe 4 months in, I showed up and I was going to do bench press with dumbbells. And I started to lift and I saw that I just didn't have any strength in my shoulders. And I thought that was weird. Like they just didn't have any strength behind them. But I kind of pushed through anyway. I just kind of forced it to happen. And I did the workout, and when I was done with it, I felt like really sore, but like in a weird, deep sort of way. It's like, oh, this doesn't feel very good. And then I thought, well, I'll just rest a few days. I'll be better, and I'll come back, and everything will be okay. But I showed up a couple of days later, tried the same dumbbell bench press, and this time I couldn't even lift up the weights, even get them into position. And so I had to go way back, almost probably half of the weight that I was lifting before, and I was still struggling, and there was a lot of pain. But I tried to push through it, like, I'm gonna do this anyway. And I just made the condition even worse then. And so what happened was I found myself really frustrated for 2 reasons. First, I had this newfound love with bodybuilding, and all of a sudden this activity that I enjoy doing so much, I'm having struggles and setbacks with. And that kind of frustrated me. But also, I had this goal in mind. Because I was progressing so quickly, I was projecting out that in a few months, I was already having a big transformation in body composition. Because when I started, I was probably near 30% body fat and no muscle tone. Like, you know, my triceps were like flappy little dangly wings, right? So that's where I started. And I was already, you know, seeing a radical transformation in my body. But in a few months away, I was going to go for a photo workshop in Albania. And the previous year, I went to the same photo workshop before with a lot of the same people. And so when I was going to go again, I was calculating, you know, by the time I show up there, I'm going to be even bigger than I am now. And when I show up, boy, are they going to be surprised. I'm going to look so different than where I was a year ago. And so that was my goal, and I was looking forward to that. And when I had this setback, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to make this goal, and my transformation isn't going to be as radical as I want it to be. So those 2 things really kind of frustrated me, and I thought, well, you know, I'm going to release on it. I'm going to get it done anyway. So I started releasing on it, and like I said before, I was struggling with it. I was releasing, but I wasn't seeing the results. I tried to go back to the gym, still couldn't do much with my shoulders. I could move them, I had full range of motion, but when I just applied any weight to them, it was, there's a lot of pain, and it was like a no-go. I just could not do much pushing weight through my shoulders. And so I tried, and I couldn't do it, and eventually I had to resign myself to do other workouts, but not a lot that I could do with my arms, which is quite a lot. You know, that's quite a lot of stuff that requires your shoulders and arms in order to work out. So I had to skip a lot of other stuff, and I didn't like that, but I was releasing on it and struggled. And I went to the workshop, and nobody really noticed. They kind of noticed. They said, they made some comments after the fact, but it wasn't like the big wow, of course, that I was looking for. And even after the workshop, I continued to struggle. And this struggle went on for probably nearly 9 months, until I finally got healed enough to where I could start gradually moving back up into weights and starting to work out using my shoulders again. And so it was after 9 months to almost a year that I kind of got back to where I was at before I had that injury. And I figured, well, the reasoning behind that was how I got injured in the first place was because I was so aggressive initially and so in love and showing up every day and progressing, increasing my weights so rapidly. My muscles are getting bigger, but what I learned was that the tendons take longer to develop and get strength. And so my muscles are progressing, but my tendons weren't really keeping up. And at some point, they really gave out and tore or whatever that caused me those shoulder issues. And so basically after 9 months, everything started to get better, and then I could start getting back into the program more fully again. So that's what happened back then. Now, earlier this year, around February, I was at the gym and I was doing bench press again, but this time with a barbell. And at this point, I'd gone past the previous injury and I'd gone much further in my progression and the weights that I was lifting. And so I was pushing pretty good weight, with the barbell. And this particular time that I showed up in February, I was just moving up to a brand new weight that I'd never lifted before on the bench press. And so I started it. And this particular evening when I showed up, I was in a hurry, so I didn't take any time to warm up or anything. I just went straight to the bench press and went to this brand new weight and right away just started lifting it. And in the first set, as I was lifting, in one of the first couple of reps, I just lost strength in one of my shoulders, and I just immediately had to drop the barbell down onto my tummy and then try to roll it down and get myself up. And I was like, uh-oh, I injured myself again. And this time, it was so severe that I couldn't even lift my arm. Not just be able to push or lift weights, but I just couldn't even raise it. And I couldn't raise it past not even 90 degrees. Up to this point, it just physically couldn't go any higher. And if I tried to, it was excruciatingly painful. And the thought came into my mind, uh-oh, not this again. But this time, I was careful not to fall into the trap that I fell into before, because I recognized where I was at before and what made me struggle so much to heal myself the first time. And that was number one. I went into negativity mode. I went into beating myself up because I was so into the thrill of this new thing and the love for this new thing that I was doing, that when I couldn't do it, I was really upset about it. I didn't realize it, but I was beating myself up royally because I couldn't do this thing that I loved. And I didn't catch myself. And I didn't address that disapproval, not for a long, long time. So that was my first mistake, right? Not recognizing my negativity and beating myself up and deciding to let that go. And also, I was so driven by this goal to be in shape and impress these people at this photo workshop that goal was more important than being imperturbable, being at peace and loving myself, whether I was muscular or not. And so I recognized that was my mistake before, and I'm not going to fall into that trap again. And so the immediate thing that I did when I had the second injury this last time was that I decided, well, first of all, I'm not going to push myself and try to, push through this injury. I'm going to give myself permission not to go to the gym and be completely okay with that and love myself anyway. All right, that was the first step. And then the second step was, I'm going to make imperturbability the most important thing. So even though, even if I'm so injured, because I was wondering, why can't I even lift my arm? This must really be bad. I decided that even if this injury is so bad that I can never lift again, I decided I'm going to get to the place where I can be happy anyway, that it makes no difference to me. And so making those two key decisions now enabled me to just release all my frustration, release all my disapproval of the pain, of the condition, my disapproval of my shoulder, all of that stuff. Let all of that negativity go. Because one of the reasons why I say that release on the body is something that is guaranteed to get results. The body always responds very quickly to releasing, is coming from this nature of disapproval versus approval. See, one of the problems that we face when we have an injury or we have an illness or there's some sort of problem going on with the body is that pain or that symptom is just the body ringing a doorbell saying, hey, there's a problem here. Please fix me. Now examine this for yourself. Notice that when there's a pain or any other problem in the body, when that doorbell starts ringing, what is the first tendency that tends to come up? It's disapproval, right? Oh, I don't like what happened. Oh, I don't like the pain. Oh, I want this to go away. I want to fix this. Immediately, our first automatic ego reaction is just to disapprove of the body. And see, the thing is when the body is just ringing that doorbell saying, hey, please fix me, what it's saying is, hey, there's a pocket of negative energy here. There's a negative thing here. And when we answer that door with disapproval, what we're doing is we're adding more negativity to that negative energy. So it's like we're throwing a log onto the fire. And that's why we don't see results. And that problem just persists on and on and on, because we're just adding to the negativity. But what I always say, and this is what I discovered, is that the body's the perfect doctor. And when it's ringing that doorbell and saying, hey, there's a problem here, all it's asking for is our attention. It's saying, hey, this needs your attention. Or in other words, this needs your love. Because instead of answering that door with negativity, if you answer that door with love, approval, acceptance, you're directing positivity, positive energy to that pool of negativity, and thereby melting it away. And when you add the positivity, that's the attention that your body is looking for when it's ringing that doorbell. And that is what enables the body to very quickly heal itself. So this time, I just decided I'm not going to push myself. I'm not going to put any requirements on myself. Even if I never lift again, I have to abandon this bodybuilding thing that I love so much. That's fine. I'm going to be imperturbable. I'm going to be happy despite what's going on. I'm going to love myself no matter what. So that was my basis. And from that point, then I started to look for the disapproval, the wanting to change, the wanting to figure out and correct what's going on, and just letting all of that noise go. so that I could just be at peace and present and just in the moment simply give my shoulder love and approval. And in a matter of weeks, I went from not even being able to lift my arm, and after a certain point, having it be an excruciating pain, to start like testing those limits. And where I found the place where it would stop, I couldn't lift anymore, I would just release at that moment. And I would find myself just relaxing. And I realized something. And this is something that Lester Levenson always talked about, is the body is your creation. It's just a picture in your head. And being your creation, you're the owner, and you could tell the body what to do, almost like it's a puppet and you're the marionette. You just tell it what to do and it'll do it for you. And what I started to do is, when my arm reached this limit, I just relaxed, I let go, and I said, okay, move on up. And without any force or effort on my part, I just told my arm, lift higher. And it would just raise, almost like it's being lifted by a hot air balloon, right? Just being pulled up, just on its own, without any effort on my part. And like I said, in a matter of weeks, the whole thing went away. Now, something else interesting happened during this experience. You see, when I used to hang out with Larry, and people would call and they would work on body problems, Larry would always make a point of, don't pay attention to a diagnosis. A diagnosis doesn't help you at all. And the example that he would say is, if you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, oh, it looks like you have 4th stage cancer. Okay, great. Thank you for telling me that, doctor. Now, what do I do about it? Now, from the doctor's point of view, they only have 2 solutions. Either medicate you, drug you up, or cut you up. And neither of those are really good options. And so when they give you this diagnosis, it's kind of like, okay, now I have a label. Now I have a name for it. But what do I really want? I want health. I want everything to be perfect. And the diagnosis doesn't help at all. And the thing is that when I had the second injury, the memory, the thought came up about a long time ago. I realized, oh, this must be the same shoulder that I broke when I had that skiing accident, which was also a big releasing success that I had. And that was when I first learned the method. But that was a long time ago. And the thought came up, well, that was a shoulder that got injured. I broke the bone. I split it from the ball joint, kind of down this way. And, I had this whole old injury. And maybe it's because of that old injury that I'm having this recurring problem with the shoulder. Aha, that must be it. But after I had that thought, I caught myself. I was like, what do I need that information for? How does that help me? What do I really want? I want a strong and healthy shoulder. So I held that in mind. I set my goal to just have my shoulder be perfect, strong and healthy. I released on it. And like I said, just a couple of weeks, boom. Where it was a worse off condition than it was a couple of years ago, that it took me months and months and months and months in order to resolve. So that's the key. Remember, the key is love. Love is the answer. Love is what your body's looking for. And notice what your typical automatic reaction, the habit is. It's immediately to go into disapproval. Oh, I hate this thing, or I hate myself because I put myself in this position, I did this to myself. Oh, I wish I didn't show up and do this thing today, and we get into this spin, and we want to try to change something that we can't change because it already happened, and we get stuck on that, and that just sends us into a spiral. But if we just remember, love is the answer, let go of the disapproval, and just start practicing love, That's what solves everything in the body. And also, making sure that imperturbability and the want for imperturbability is the most important thing, more important than anything else. Those two keys right there, if you grasp onto those will resolve any issue in your life, not just in your body, but also in your finances, in your relationships, everything. So, anyway, I wanted to share this with you and let you know that this September, I'm doing a new 6-week course called the Body Mastery Course, where we're all focused about releasing on the body and having the body be absolutely perfect. Just a perfect creation, because it is a creation in your mind, and recognizing that so that you are not a slave to your body and your body's problems, and not just illnesses, but having to be tired, having no energy, all that stuff, so that you are in charge, and you are in charge of your body 24/7. And you get to have your body to be just the perfect vehicle for you to exist in this world. And also, know yourself beyond the body and be able to even do things like drop the body and experience being outside the body, even letting the body go and enjoying the freedom of just beingness only. And all on the way, also, completely conquering your fear of dying, your fear of mortality. So that is no longer an issue haunting you in your life. And imagine what you could do in this world and what you could achieve if you had no fear of dying. How fun would your life be if you had no fear of dying? So if that's something that interests you, then check out the link below in the description and join us in this new Body Mastery course. I look forward to seeing you there, and happy releasing.